Welcome to the Audaci-Tea, a podcast by women for women, and of course, anyone brave enough to listen. We're so excited for our special guest today. We're having Regan from F the Nice Guy podcast on later for our main segment to talk about her expertise, which is nice guys. Yes. I cannot wait to pick her brain.
Same.
And unfortunately, Gwen is not with us today, but she will be back next week. So please send her your well wishes and a speedy recovery for our dear Gwen. Yes, she lost her voice, unfortunately, which is, you kind of need it to record a podcast. So she couldn't join us today, but I'm sure we'll have plenty of fun chatting with Regan. And we, of course, want to give a shout out to our brand new TVIP member, Sarah Armstrong. Hey, welcome, Sarah.
We love our new members.
Yes, sorry. I was going to say we love our Patreon community. We welcome all new members, whether, you want to be a VIP or any of the other tiers. We try to make it accessible. We try not to gatekeep too much. So yeah, please come on over and join us. We have a couple other housekeeping announcements really quick. First of all, please be sure to check out the show notes for links, resources, and everything we talk about in the show. That includes timestamps, chapter markers, whichever part of the show you want to get to, you can, because our producer does a lot of hard work on the show notes. So make sure that you check it out. Check out the recommendations. We try to tag anything and everything that we talk about. So in other housekeeping, we have a mailbag. We love the questions. We love to read them on air, and we'll be doing a mailbag every other week from now on in between our other segments. And of course, please rate, review, and leave comments on the episodes that you like. That helps us every time. So, whatever y'all can do, share with your friends, give it a like. Copy the link, if anything, just help get the word out. And since we've gone to video, we have also started a TikTok page for our clips that we post. So be sure you find us on there if you're a big TikToker and help share those clips as well. That'd be awesome.
And we're still doing the voice memos, right?
Yes, we are. Please, if you're a VIP, please remember that you can send us in a voice note that we would love to play on air, and sort of, any kind of discussion that you want to have would be great. The original purpose was to get our viewers' tea as well on our tea segment. So Please do join us. Send in your 60-second audio clip and we'll play it and we'll talk about it.
And you can remain anonymous as well. So don't forget that.
In fact, we do try to keep all of our mailbags anonymous and our videos as well. Awesome. Well, Sovereign, what is your tea today?
Ooh, there's so many things.
There's too many almost.
Yeah, I was just watching a video of a woman who got punched in New York because I think she was rage baiting. When I read the comments, that was the vibe I was getting, that she was rage baiting. They were talking about abortion. And the woman that was doing the interview was kind of like antagonizing the one she was interviewing. And she just hauled off and punched her. Like it was just out of nowhere. She hit her twice, I think. I was actually going to do a video about this on my channel because I hate to laugh, but the girl said something like, well, I'm not the one that's saying it's okay to kill babies or something along those lines. And the girl just was like, that's not what it's about. Like, it came out of nowhere. Like, I'm not even joking.
She just went for it.
Yeah, it was almost like mid-sentence or mid-thought, she just decided, I'm finna hit her. And she just punched her. I don't condone violence at all. I'm not a violent person. I don't like to see people get beat up. But I will say that if you're gonna say crap online, you should be prepared, especially in a place like New York.
Yeah.
You might have to actually be about that life in real life. There was a picture of her at the end. She had a bunch of blood coming on her face. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting. And to say the least.
Yeah, it's funny how much different social media is than real life. It's very easy to get kind of this chronically online kind of vibe about you.
Yeah.
If you are not sufficiently present in real life and real interactions that you're going to have with people. And it's funny because I think a lot of people think that Democrats or kind of the more liberal side of the political spectrum tends to be the more peaceful side, but apparently not always. Apparently, they're always like, oh, you guys are always here crying and you're so empathetic and da-da-da. And I mean, I love that narrative is not always true. It's like, I don't know. You might F
Not at
around
all.
and find out.
Absolutely.
And a lot more of us
Absolutely.
are buying GUNs now and all that. So it's like, I don't know.
And always take into account, and this is what I always think about, you never know what a person is going through. You don't know what just happened to them 20 minutes before you showed up. You don't want to be out here messing with people because
Yeah, seriously.
people are on edge. The economy, they don't want to call it a recession yet, but they're going to call it. Like we were talking about last week, in my opinion, I'm just saying. So
I think they have to
people
now.
are feeling the effects of like losing their jobs and all types of stuff. You don't know what will set somebody off.
Absolutely.
So treat people the way you want to be treated. Don't rage bait online stuff in real life because that could have been worse for her. She could have put out a gun and shot her. I mean, who knows, right? But yeah, I didn't see it coming at all. I was like, wait a minute. And I replayed it a few times because I don't want to say it was satisfying to watch. I don't know what the word is. Because I don't like violence. I really don't.
Schadenfreude or whatever. I know I'm not saying it right, but there is a term for it where you're like happy to see somebody getting what they deserve. Yeah. And it's like you don't want to laugh. You don't want to take pleasure in it. Because normally you're like an empathetic person. But yeah, I mean, sometimes that narrative gets taken so far. And I just, especially with like the Christian argument against abortion too, and where it's like killing babies, my answer to that is always like, Go look in the Bible and see how many babies God killed. He ordered the genocide and the killing of like multiple people. And all of that included babies. I mean, phrases like
and women
smash their babies against the rocks are literally written in the Bible. And if that's not a late term, abortion, then I don't know what So it's like, we're not like, people are not murdering babies. Like people in the Bible were murdering babies. I'm so serious. If you're coming at it from a Christian perspective, that's one argument I have never had a Christian be able to go back and forth with me on. They always tap out right there. Yeah. Because you can like cite the scriptures and it's like, God killed more babies, I promise you, than anybody else. Yeah. Like than any woman, And
the pro-lifers are so full of shit. Because I always think about once the kids are here, they're like, oh, the baby deserves life and they deserve a chance to live and enjoy life and blah, blah, blah. But then once they're here, the mother is on her own. There's no help. There's no village. There's nothing. And so pro-life, how are you pro-life? But you're like, I don't know. So when people start doing that and rage baiting or trying to act holier than thou and all that stuff, there's people out here that will, as they put it in the comments, give you a 2-piece and a biscuit. There are people out there that will just haul off and knock you out. So just be careful and, don't know what people are going through. You don't. So.
Absolutely. Look, this is what's going to happen. Like tensions are going to get stronger because people feel like at this point, what they're losing is like tangible and they can tangibly connect it to like, well, some of y'all voted for this to happen and now I'm going to lose my job. Now I'm going to lose my house. Now I'm going to not be able to afford a car or an education or whatever. What goes around comes around. Like once people start to viscerally experience those, like the effects of what other people voted for, that's when fists are going to start flying. Yep. And speaking of, we had a lot of protests nationwide and to all of our happiness, to all of our relief, it was mostly, white men and women out there. The protests were very peaceful. There was no police with batons or fire hydrant hoses or, like the big shields or anything like that. And I think that the white people came out because they looked at their 401ks and got real pissed off. Like I'm not even, trying to ascribe some kind of moral, reasoning to all this. It's really comes down to money. But hey, at least the protest went peacefully. At least the police had, no scapegoats in the process of all this, because that is unfortunately what happens. And this is why everybody was kind of saying like, Black people should not come out to protest. And look, the strategy is working. It's working. And like, I just feel like it's really going to be up to the white people to like take the heat and finally just figure out how to organize, figure out it's not that hard. honestly.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. You just have to do it yourself, and you just have to get your community out there, and that's what it's really all about. It's not that hard. You don't have to wait for anybody else to do it. You can just do it yourself, and that's the good news. And it's like, if we as a country and as a society are not going to acknowledge the wrongs that have been historically done to a certain group of people, those wrongs will never stop happening. And that group of people should not have to continue paying for that with their lives and with their health and with their safety. I just think that's fucked up. So I feel like we're actually kind of taking some accountability here, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
What do you think?
I don't know. I was going to ask you, because I feel like they could have been done this a long time ago. Like white women could have gotten together because everything the structure is set up for white people to succeed or to whatever. It's set up for you. So I've always wondered, like, I've struggled with, why did they not do this to begin with? Like, why was it always minorities getting out there and putting ourselves? But I guess I'm assuming maybe the mindset could have been, well, if they're going to do it, I'll just stay home and bake cookies or whatever. Is that it? Because I'm like, they could have been collectively decided to just like, okay, we're gonna. But I guess it's because now they're being affected.
Yes,
it just came to me. I don't know why I didn't think about that at first.
They've always been affected less.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Totally.
I think they've always been affected less. It's always been like obvious that if, minorities are going to protest, that the protests are going to get dangerous.
Yeah.
And so then for white people, they're kind of like, oh, well, we're going to be catching strays out here. And it's like, you should be the ones protesting. Like, and they just didn't understand. Like, I think they didn't understand the whole, like, first they came for blank and then they came for blank and I didn't say anything. And then they came for these people. It always is going to end up at your doorstep. Yeah. Like, that's the whole prerogative of it. Yeah. And I'm just so glad that, like, Black people have just been like, no, like, that's enough. We're done. We're stepping out. This is no longer our fight, because honestly, how much worse at this point can things get with this administration? Like, they're basically no DEI. They're like giving people permission to like be racist and everything like that. They're giving police immunity. Put all of that together and it's literally not safe. Like, it's literally, they're waiting to be able to use all of these excuses and to like break up these peaceful protests. But if it's a bunch of white people, then it's a different story. It's just a different story.
How effective do you think it's going to be, though, as far as like them changing? Because it was hands off. So this theme of this protest was hands off, basically, to the billionaires. Y'all have no place telling us what to do, basically. Go be a billionaire somewhere else on an island and leave us alone. I mean, essentially, right? There's more to that. But what do you think the protest will do? Or do you think it's actually going to be effective in some kind of way? Anyway,
it's interesting. I think that's a really good question. I think that already Trump is kind of trying to part with Musk. And I think it's kind of the public sentiment. Like, I think they know that people are very unhappy with it, but especially like middle class people.
I wonder, are they really going to part though? Or are they going to just do it for optics? Do you get what I mean?
Right.
Like behind the scenes, they'll still be like, I'm not going to say what I was thinking about. But I'm not going to say. But yeah, behind the scenes, they will. But in the public eye, it's like, oh, I've separated from him, separated from Doge. We're not, I don't know.
I think he's doubling down. I think the protests are pissing him off. Like, as far as Trump goes, I think he came out today and said, like, no, we're not changing the tariffs. We're not backing down. Like, he's telling everyone to basically just go ahead with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to take a lot more than just the initial wave of protests. Like, I think it's going to need to be at the level of, because I don't know if you remember, like the whole Occupy Wall Street. I mean, they basically took that as a joke, which that was like a big valid protest. Like, people were camped out for weeks, you know what I mean? And we didn't even have this like protest negativity back then. Like, now they're really trying to crack down on it. But I think it would take something like that all over the country.
And they were saying that this was also in other countries too, that they were against. As long as they know that everybody in the U.S. don't back Trump, as far as like, we're not all like on board with what he's doing. But I think the next phase, I don't think the protest is going to really do anything. It's my personal opinion.
No.
If anything is going to change, I would say the next phase would be white women in particular pulling back their dollars as far as like the consumerism that we're all like under, like they would have to drastically pull back. If droves of white people, especially ones who make a certain amount of money in this country, if they did it, I think it would be more effective.
Yeah, but once again, I just don't think we should be putting the burden of protest on Black people at all anymore.
I agree.
Spend
and
your
that's
money
really
wherever
how
you
I
want.
feel. Because I don't,
At this point, like,
if I'm being fair, I don't think our dollar is very big in this country, but I don't think it's bigger than people who are investing in the stock market and people who have all this money and who make millions of dollars a year. Like it's nowhere near that. So I kind of feel like even if all Black people, let's say every single Black person in the country boycotted Target, all the white people are still going to go to Target. And all the Asians and people with money and whatever is still going to go to Target. So it's not going to make a difference. They're going to see a drop, but it's not going to be enough drop to put Target out of business. At least
they've seen a huge drop. Actually.
I know,
yeah.
But do you? I mean, I'm not going to say it'll never happen.
They'll probably just ask for a bailout and Trump will
bailout,
give it to
or
them.
they may close a couple stores, but I don't see them like going completely under because of that.
Never.
You know what I
never,
mean?
Never.
So that's what I mean.
No. Well, our guest is here. So that's the good news. Let's welcome her into the studio after this break. Yay. And we're back with Regan from F the Nice Guy Podcast. Studio welcome.
Stop it.
Regan, we obviously love your content. Couldn't wait to have you on the show. But could you tell our listeners who may or may not know who you are already a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I can. Also, the feeling is mutual, just for the record. I make content based basically on the nice guy, right? So I have the F the Nice Guy podcast and I have a TikTok, Instagram, whatever. But the focus is on men who use the veil of niceness, not actual kindness, but fake niceness in order to get what they want from women. And unfortunately, not just is it not actual kindness, which, is not the same thing, but that veil drops quickly and brutally as soon as they do not get what they want. And you see that they're just as bad as any other misogynistic man. And unfortunately, usually you've let down your barriers and you're in a compromised position because you believed you were with somebody who is safe. And I dated many of them before I realized I was gay. So here we are. So that's...
Hey,
it's the whole deal.
I love that.
Best case scenario, honestly, like
it worked out fine
for a woman. I swear to God.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
These days.
Would recommend.
Yeah. Good for you. So what is like the biggest thing, I guess, that you have really gleaned from your experiences and like especially talking about it? Like what were some of the things? Because, when you start to dig into things, there's things you don't expect to find. Like, I love the way that you're framing it. And I just want to know more.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I actually, this came about for two reasons, my whole obsession with it. Firstly, I was in therapy, shocker. This is in my early...
Good for you also. Yes, highly
therapy.
Recommend.
Another recommendation.
Definitely.
So I was in therapy and I had so many experiences with men that I really had to unpack. The men who were outright awful to me, that were outright sexist, misogynistic, had been traumatic to me in ways that were obvious. I unpacked earlier in life. And it wasn't until, my 30s that I really realized how much manipulation and how much trauma these quote unquote nice guys actually contribute to women and how little I feel like we as a society acknowledge them. Because as soon as I was talking to my friends about some experiences, they quickly were like, oh my God, I had this one guy do that and I had this and I had that. And so it was realizing how much damage they do to a large amount of women and how little I think women get answers for that. And I know last week you did Red Pill. That was last week, right? Okay.
Last week, yeah.
Thank you. Perfect. The last episode. It's interesting because a lot of people will almost look at them as opposites, but what I find is that they really are the same guy. Now, some men will get into misogyny and just go straight to red pill, and then sometimes incel, right? They'll go a different route, right?
Yeah, the pipeline.
I feel like incel
definitely a pipeline.
It's the crash, like the very bottom where it's exploded. But nice guys are kind of the same. What they have the same entitlement as red pillars.
Yes.
They have a lot of the same philosophies, but what they think is that because I'm nice, and that is seen as treating women as equals, that is niceness to them, right? Versus doing something actually kind, like just treating you as a human being is considered an act of kindness to them. And we see that from them. And it's only once they don't get the girl, they get broken up with, whatever they expect to get from the nice guy tokens they put into your relationship. It's so gross. We then see them acting exactly as like angry red pillar or even an incel would, but they feel entitled to do it because it's your fault. They were nice to you and look what you did. You deserve this. And so they still think they're nice after they do it. Whereas a lot of red pillars and incels will probably know that they're being a jerk or that they're not being a kind person. So
that's so dangerous.
So bad.
Because they'll go to the next woman and be like, but I'm a nice guy. And then the next woman, they'll hurt her and do whatever. And then it's like, but I'm a nice guy. They really still believe that they're a nice guy. I always think, like, so from my perspective, if you have to say I'm a nice guy, like I automatically get the ick. Yeah. Like I automatically see you as a demon. Yeah. Like if you have to say it, for real. Then I'm like, okay, he's terrifying.
He's a demon.
Yeah. Just all by yourself. Like just because. Because I think actual nice guys are just nice. They don't expect anything. It's just their personality. They don't feel entitled. They don't, you know what I mean? They don't have to walk around saying it. It's just they show you with their actions. Yeah. So the so-called nice guys are like, but I'm a good guy. But and it's like, so ladies, run. Just run. It
is.
I was gonna say
Just
too,
run.
like them treating you like a human being, quote unquote, is like conditional. So it's not really that they're treating you like a human being. Like they're treating you like you said, like a machine you put tokens into, and then something's supposed to fall out, like a relationship or sexual encounter
Usually
or something.
sex,
and
what is the gumball? The machine?
The gumball machine.
Yeah,
the
when
sex
you put
comes out.
Yeah, and if not, then they start shaking the machine and beating it and kicking it and whatever else.
They feel that entitled, absolutely, and that's why it's kind of like they're just sitting on the. It's almost like the same side of the spectrum, just with extra steps. Like you're being an incel with extra steps, where you pretend to like women, like you actually don't.
Yeah, and they are very interesting because the other thing that makes them super dangerous, I think they're more dangerous than outwardly obvious men, like whether that is somebody who is alpha, quote unquote, male behavior, someone like that, or even an incel, because an incel or an alpha like guy is going to show you exactly who they are. They're going to tell you they're going to tell you right away their shitty beliefs. Whereas a nice guy is a little bit different, and they are going to present as nice. They're going to care about your interests. They're going to want to hear about your day. They're going to give you advice. If you have a boyfriend, they're going to give you advice about that. And they're going to say, oh God, men should treat you better. You deserve the world. Vomit.
Oh my God.
But then the problem is on the other side of that, the second they don't get what they want, and that could be when you are drunk with them at a party and you need a ride home. You're alone with them. It can be when you need them the most. They will put you in a bad situation where you only got into said situation because you assumed that you could trust them. You assumed that they are the person they have been presenting. And then the second they don't get what they want, you are going to be treated just as badly as a dangerous misogynist. Like I've had so many stories on the podcast with people being like literally left places when they rejected them. Like, okay, well, good luck getting a ride home. I know you're drunk, but.
Oh, I've been in that situation before.
Oh God, no!
Are you serious?
Oh
my God!
I don't even think I was in my early 20s. I think I might have been like 18, maybe. And this guy, first of all, he kept saying, "We're just friends, blah blah blah. We're gonna go skating, blah blah blah." I'm thinking we're just friends. Okay, cool. To the point where I rode with him to the skate rink. We went skating. There was this dude that was he was a DJ or whatever. He was in the DJ booth. The guy who I went with liked me more than I liked him. I didn't like him at all, actually. But we were friends because no strings attached. We hung out a bunch of times, right? This is not a big deal. So I thought the DJ was so fine. So I was flirting with the DJ, right? And what he didn't realize is I used to go skating a lot with my uncle and my sisters and brothers all the time. I'm always at the DJ booth. I don't care who's in the DJ booth because I'm always requesting songs, right? That's just my thing. Mm-hmm. But this particular time, the guy was fine. So I was talking to him and we ended up exchanging numbers. And the guy saw it. So then he was still taking me home. And I was probably like maybe a 5-minute drive. So maybe like a 10 or 10-minute walk or whatever. Mm-hmm. He was like, and I saw you get his number. I saw y'all exchange numbers. And I was like, why are you upset? We're just friends.
Right.
Right. You know, because I threw it back in his face because you were the main one saying,
yeah.
Right. I know.
How dare you?
We were just friends. Right. And he was like, you know what? As a matter of fact, get the fuck on my car. I was like, you're putting me out the car?
Oh my God.
So I'm sitting there and I was like, why are you so upset? When I tell you he played the good guy, good friend role for months, I'm not even joking, months. That, I guess for him seeing it, like seeing me completely disregard him as an option and like that just set him off, which he got on my nerves anyway. He was getting on my nerves for a while. Yeah, I used to be so ridiculous when I was younger. I was so petty. I'm still petty, but I was horrible back then. I got a kick out of it. I was like, okay, you can put me out, whatever. I wasn't that far away. So then he pulled over and I was getting ready to get out. And as I was reaching for the handle, he put the car back in drive and he like pressed the gas.
Oh
and he's like, you know what? I ain't gonna even do that. I ain't that type of dude. I'm gonna take you home because I picked you up from home. I'm gonna drop you off at home. And I was like,
about
okay.
Control.
Yeah.
All about control.
So he took me home and I just hurry up and got out the car. Didn't say bye, didn't say thank you, did nothing. I just got out. And he called me a few more times after that. I completely didn't answer the phone and he gave up after a while. Because I'm like, I thought we were friends this whole time. Like, what's the problem?
They hate it when you call them out.
Yeah.
They hate it when you actually act like you're friends, which is crazy. And to me, just hearing all of this, it's like, at its core, this behavior is scary and predatory. Yeah. It's literally like you are one of those things that looks friendly at first, but then really it's just looks friendly so it can fuck up other creatures. Yeah. Like, that's what it's like.
Literally,
like you
exactly.
And the fact that we just consider this normal is like so disturbing to me. Like men are literally out here exhibiting scary, predatory, premeditated, calculated, horrible behavior, being like, no, I'm gonna do enough nice things to where she has to have sex with me. And it's literally like this scene in like It's Always Sunny where they're like, no, it's the implication.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the implication. It's like, so they are in danger. Like they are, because the implication is like, I've done all this stuff for you, so now you have to pay me back somehow. Yeah. But it's not by doing nice stuff for me, and it's not by being my friend. It's this whole other thing.
That's never
It's this whole other thing. And you just realize as a woman, like you go through these canon events with these guys and you realize just how little they see your humanity at all. And it's,
what is your, Regan, Lisa too, but Regan, what is your perspective on when the nice guy does get what he wants? How does he present afterwards to you?
Here's the problem with them. Because they are not inherently nice, they're not actually nice people. When they get what they want, they can drop eventually the nice guy act, because you are the prize, you are the goal, and being nice is only a tool to get what they want. So now you have someone who's dropping the veil of kindness. They'll do things like maybe they have pretended to like a hobby that you like, or maybe they morph their personality to you. You'll notice them kind of like they'll say things like, wait, I thought you were like me. Like, you don't drink, but why? You just took 8 shots of tequila. Yeah. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But the other thing is they are deeply misogynist. Like, they have deep misogynistic beliefs. Yeah. Again, they think that they're being kind by being nice to you. So they think that they are superior. And so you'll start to see that leak out in relationships with them. They'll start punishing you. Usually they're a lot more, they almost get close to like a covert narcissistic trait.
Yeah, they're controlling.
They're controlling because you're the prize. And now you do what they want because they've gotten you. But they'll be controlling. They can be jealous, but they will start to really try to bring you down. And also because they usually are misogynistic, getting you is also a step in them becoming more manly and more appealing as a man. So once they have that and have you, they'll kind of treat you worse, right? Because now they're like, okay, now that I've got this woman, I can treat her like shit because I'm winning as a man. I've become more masculine. I've become more manly. So they will become a lot more like those, like the alpha males, where they're like, you're my property because now I'm winning. Like, you aren't really a person to them. Getting with you isn't about a relationship with you. It's always about getting the prize, and then because they have achieved said prize, they get to take a step up in the patriarchy, right? They get to be a cool guy, and therefore they're going to treat you like a cool guy would. And so they'll start to treat you like shit. But then whenever you guys fight, they'll whip out the manipulation, right? Because they are very, very manipulative people.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. I was going to say, when we said subject of expertise, like, you laid it out.
Just date them. Just date them for like, 30 years and then realize you're gay and you will be an expert. Well, I honestly do think that's part of it is I dated men who I did not have the attraction. So I was not blinded as much, by like there was sexual attraction, So I think I see things a little bit differently. It's interesting when you mentioned that when you're like, whatever, I'll get out right now in the car, you actually did not give him the reaction he wanted. Yeah. Which is to be like, oh, please don't leave me.
Yeah.
So
I promise I won't call him.
So you made him feel bad. You didn't give him the reaction that his manipulation didn't get the outcome he was looking for. So then you flipped it again. And so he's like, well, I'll just be the nice guy then. Because then maybe like the power play.
Yeah. I got the sense that he was trying to like show me, see, I'm still a good dude. I don't even have to take you home. But I'm going to take you home because I committed to picking you up. I'm going to drop you off where I left you. Like I think he thought I was going to be like, oh, well, he really didn't have to take me home.
Right.
No, I couldn't get out that car faster.
Bye.
And I was like, in my mind, I'm never talking to you again. And when I tell y'all, I would just stop talking to a dude like overnight, within seconds. Like once my mind is made up, it's just over.
As you should have.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't care.
That is dangerous. He literally goes, go ahead and open the car door and get out. So now you're thinking, okay, I have the choice to get out, and you don't. That's fucking terrifying. Like he could have floored that gas and took you absolutely anywhere.
Anywhere, I know.
And that is scary because
we was both dying in a car accident before that happened. I was swerved that steering wheel and whatever. Yeah.
Grabbing the wheel.
Going down.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, my cousin's like been kidnapped like that, like by her ex, and she just wouldn't let her out of the car. You know?
Yeah. Oh God.
And these are the nice guys, right? And then it's almost like they feel so emboldened by the existence of these quote unquote like other men.
100%.
That they're like, it like really gives them such a lower bar to ever live up to, because at the end of the day they can just say, well, I never
hit you.
Yeah, I never raped you. I never hit you. I never like did this or this. And it's like, is that really the bar for men? How come we don't hear more men talking like that about women? Like, oh, well, at least she wasn't abusive. Well, at least she didn't like kill me. At least she didn't like throw me out of a car. At least she didn't like, why? It's crazy.
They benefit, like quote unquote nice guys, but technically all men benefit off of the bad men. But
they really do.
It's the same dudes that'll hang out. Like they'll hang out with assholes. Like these nice guys will have best friends that are just treat women like shit or do terrible things, and then they're like, oh well, I'm not like them. Like, God, sorry, I'm the good friend. I'm the good guy. And it's like because they know by association they look better. And also, like, the thing that we don't acknowledge is, I'm sorry, if you hang out with all immature guys, all sexist guys, all whatever they are, boom, because so many people will have people that they're with and like, oh, their friends are, my boyfriend's friends are all assholes. Thank God he's the nice one. And I'm like, I hate to tell you this.
Give me your hand so I can hold it.
Let me hold it real tight, because guess what he's like when you're not there.
And that's why they don't call each other out too, because they don't want, and if they do call a guy out, it's only so that it'll make them look better. Like, but they don't hold each other accountable for that reason, because it's like, well, they want them to look bad because it helps them to look better,
The essence of the whole Kendrick and Drake beef Like, sorry, I hate to say it. I know we all enjoyed it, love the music that came out of it, but women were used as like pawns in a chess game against a man.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, now you care that he's with minor. You've known this. You've been sitting on this information for God knows how many years.
Right.
But now that it's time to like clown on another man and embarrass him, that's when it matters.
Yeah.
What he does to women, and also like because he did more than you, like, oh, he's better, but really like it's like Kendrick has talked about, he's stepped out on his wife too, and
that is so
like
funny
that.
you
like,
bringing that up,
not a
because
saint.
I had a flash thought of that months ago. Like I you know how sometimes you think you're the only person that thought of something, and I didn't think of it no more. Like I was just like,
right. Yeah.
Why are you saying it now? Like, I just wonder, it just sounds good in a song, but like, it's like and that's another thing. I'm like, to me, a lot of them are all the same. Some of them are just a lot more covert. Kind of like if we want to compare celebrities, Diddy and Jay-Z. To me, they're the exact same man. One is sloppy and the other one is more careful with what they do. And, you know, that's how, you know, so that's how I see it. Like, they're the same. They may present to be different. You know, they may present differently, but they're like at the core to me.
Yeah.
That's just my own personal opinion. Like, you know. What do you think about, the friend zone dude?
Oh my God. That's one of my least favorite things in the world is the imaginary friend zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But God forbid you have a friend.
Well, literally, that's literally what they're saying. They're saying that the worst possible place to be is an imaginary prison in which you have to be friends with a woman. Oh my God, the worst. So I think that men who believe in the friend zone inherently just don't like women and only want women for like sex, like they want them for service, something like that, because in their minds, the worst case scenario and essentially a prison is friendship with women. It is prison.
The way you said that just now should radicalize a lot of women. Like I just, that's my only hope. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so like, it's haunting and it's so sad. And I think we don't pay enough attention to what they're saying, which is that there is no benefit to being your friend. That is what they are saying, that the only value you have to them is being their romantic partner. Other than that, they don't want to speak to you. They don't want to see you. And you have wasted their time.
Yep.
And romantic partner, like, can we talk about that part too? Is like, what do these kind of guys really view as a romantic partner? Because to me, it's like, they're not really looking for depth in that area either.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're usually looking for physical contact. They're looking for... I think status a lot of the time. Status with other men.
Absolutely. Absolutely. By proxy.
It's like not even about women. It's not attraction to women. Yeah. It's sad. It's really sad. And I also think like normalizing calling it that is sad, because like it's all you're saying is that you do not enjoy the company of women unless you are getting something out of it.
Yep.
And
exactly it.
Friendship is not enough for you. And also, you're showing that you had ulterior motives. Point blank, period.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Like, if you are upset that you didn't get with her, then you feel entitled to her. So any guy who's saying that the alleged friend zone exists, I think, has high entitlement, particularly for women, and feels entitled to them for simply treating them like human beings.
It took me a long time to accept that I didn't have any real male friends. Because like I grew up, like I have a lot of male friends. Like in my mind, I'm like, they're just my friend. They're just my friend. Because women, we can easily just, I guess, put a guy in the so-called friend zone and just be friends. We can hang out with you. We can go to parties. We can watch movies together. We can take trips. We can laugh. We can, you know, do whatever and not have any romantic feelings towards a guy for years, decades. And like it never crosses over to anything, but they can't, because the thing that I had to come to terms with is that if given the opportunity to sleep with me or whatever, they would all take it, like all of them. And I'm like, and it didn't, I don't want to go down this soapbox, but it doesn't even matter their relationship status or anything. Like it doesn't matter. Like they will do it. And so for a long time, I'm like, no, men and women can be friends. But I think in the back of my mind, I always knew, because you know, when a guy really likes you and you put him in the friend, that's how they get in the friend zone in the first place, right? because you know that they kind of like you maybe to some degree, but you're like, no, I don't want to, you're like a brother to me, or, you don't want to, I don't want to ruin the friendship. But women are genuinely like, we can be friends with you. Like, we can see you beyond somebody to have sex with or whatever. They can't. It's just like they can't. And I'm not saying that there are no such thing as men who can be friends with women.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the problem is the number is so small that it's almost non-existent. You know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like it doesn't, because if you gave the opportunity as a woman to sleep with your friend, in most cases, they will take it. And the only reason why they're in your friend zone is because they're literally waiting for an opportunity. They're waiting for you to, go get into it with your boyfriend, or for the dude that you're dating to dump you or to ghost you, or for you to be depressed after a parent dies or whatever. They're waiting for any entry point where they can like get you at a vulnerable moment. And it's so
And once again, that's predatory behavior.
It's
that
so
you
predatory.
Can't call that anything else other than you're a predator. You're a snake lying in the grass, waiting for,
Yeah.
I think women and men can be friends, but I think what most men see from women is that their only value is in relationships. So what they're giving isn't friendship. What they're doing is they're literally trying to showcase, I'm a good partner through my supposed friendship. Here's how great I am. Here's how nice I am. And then they don't get the outcome that they thought they deserved. And it's like, yeah, but then you're not being a friend. So the friend zone doesn't even include any friendship ever. Like, you're not, there is no friend. Where is the friend?
Right. That's so unfortunate. I hate that.
And I think it just speaks to like how men don't value women as human beings. It's like, I'm only willing to make this effort if I think it's going to like pay off for me in the end with like things that I value, things that the patriarchy values. Like, they're not willing to step out of their comfort zone and be like, no, like I actually value you as a friend, or, there's something here that may not necessarily be romantic relationship material, but like I hang out, love to like dig in, get to know your brain more, get to know the way that you think. Like, I have so many women friends that are like that, and maybe I haven't like stayed friends with every single one, but even like for a time, it's like you can be friends without this weird like sexual pressure. Like, I've also been friends with like plenty of gay women, and it's like they don't complain about the friend zone. Like, they don't, it's not like there's not that same kind of expectation there that like, oh, just because we put in the time as friends, now I'm entitled to like your body or something.
I love being gay for lots of reasons, but I love being gay in these conversations because so often I'll get into conversations with men and they will 99% of the time they assume I'm straight. And so they'll get in these conversations with me about like attraction to women and what that does to friendships. And I'm like, actually, I am attracted to women and I have many platonic friendships with women and I love women and I love speaking to women. And like the way that I behave in relationships is not the way that men behave in relationships with women a lot of the time. And it's not just attraction. You can't keep using that as your excuse for why you treat women the way that you do, because that's what they'll do. It's like they almost treat it like they have no control. It's a foregone conclusion that if I am in the same room as a beautiful woman, what am I going to do? Of course I would want to be with them. It's like, no, actually, no, you don't have to. You're not an animal. You have control over your desires. And also, why are you thinking about that? Like, why are you sexualizing your friendships? Like, that's super weird. Like, you should talk to someone.
Well, I feel like, real quick, one time in one of my lives, I suggested that, men shouldn't watch as much porn as they do. And one of the men that was in there at the time was like, well, then what else am I supposed to do? And I just feel like that connects somehow. Because like they really are trained to sort of like, that's their connection to the world, is like, it's sexual, it's hierarchical, it's like this conquering, like whatever. Like they really can't think outside of the box sometimes, outside of that like sexual desirability thing, and it's like the only thing that really validates them at the end of the day. It's like it's almost invalidating to them to have a lot of female friends, because then other men will think that they're gay, which is also bad.
That's so true.
It's true.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, it really exposes them that they're operating in like a low nature, like
low vibrational.
The very fact that they can't be around women and see women as human and as friends is an indicator that, I don't want to say that they're not a good person, but it's an indicator that, they're not evolved. And I don't want to say they're not a good person. I'm trying to think of another. They're not.
Why? Why would no? I think that's a perfectly fine thing to say.
You're
not a good person if you deny other people's
You're not a good person to be in a
humanity.
relationship with.
That's
you're
for
not.
Sure.
You're not husband material, if there's a such thing as that. You're not a boyfriend. You're not capable. You have a lot of work to do on yourself. The last thing you would need to be doing is focusing on a relationship or focusing on ruining your friendships when you can be working on yourself and being a better person. It's just such a testament to who they are. They're not evolving. That's the easiest way to put it. They're not evolving, and you don't want to get seriously involved with someone who's not evolving, because you will be most likely still evolving as a woman, but you'll be evolving alone. Like you'll be evolving by yourself. They're not.
And that's what I mean. Like, these relationships are shallow. Like, at the end of the day, like, even if you are going to give that nice guy a chance or whatever, chances are he can't meet your actual relational needs.
No, never. And when I tell you, I was listening to a live earlier today, and they were talking about the friend zone stuff. And the guys just have it in their mind where it's like, y'all pass up on good men all the time because y'all like to put men in the friend zone. You're missing out on your king. You're missing out on the love of your life because you're shallow and you don't want to date a man that's 5'8" or whatever he was saying. And I'm like, if a woman puts you in the friend zone to begin with, she automatically, for the most part, doesn't see a romantic future with you. Otherwise, you would not have been put in the friend zone to begin with. Now, there are situations where a woman is just really not ready to date. She's not ready to be serious when she's just having her fun, and she'll put you in the friend zone because maybe there's something wrong with you per se, but she's just not ready to deal with all of that. Those situations exist. But for the most part,
you should choose better, just like they tell women, like, choose better. Clearly, she's not ready for a relationship.
I just hate that they don't understand. I hate that men don't understand why women put men in the friend zone. If we put you in the friend zone, we put you there for a damn good reason. It doesn't matter how you feel as a man. It doesn't matter that you think Tom, Dick, and Harry are good dudes. She doesn't.
Why is it even up to you? Like, why do you even get a say in that?
Why do you care? You don't. You don't get a say, but they really feel like they do. And it's like, if you're in the friend, if I put a dude in the friend zone for being 5'8", which I have done my entire life, I'm 5'11". I don't want to be with anybody under 6'3". It just is what it is. You can call that shallow, but my thing is, first and foremost, I don't even think it's my choice.
Yeah, like, that's what you're attracted.
I don't know. Like, I don't know why I'm attracted to tall men. I just am. I don't know why my favorite color is black. I don't know why I like black over orange. I don't know why I do. I just know I prefer the color black. Same thing. I like tall men. If I get in, if I take you out the friend zone and try to give you a chance, we're gonna be in a sexless relationship. I'm just using this as an example.
Why would you want that?
Why would you want to be with somebody who does not find you sexually attractive? If I'm not physically, and this is just me personally, if I'm not physically attracted to you, I will never, under any circumstances, be sexually attracted to you. So we will be in a relationship. I'm giving you a chance. I'm taking you out the friend zone. We can go to parties together. We can go out of the country. We can do this. We're gonna do everything under the sun except have sex. Are you sure that this is the relationship you want? Because for whatever reason, the woman puts you in the friend zone because she's either, she knows what kind of man you are, or she knows that you're a player, or she knows that all the women are chasing after you, and maybe she feels a little insecure. It could be anything. Maybe she knows you wouldn't be a good father. Maybe you drink too much. Maybe you're not tall enough. Maybe she saw you getting out the pool one day and she saw a dick print and it wasn't nothing there. I mean,
men are allowed to have these preferences, and if anybody is about to shame whatever Sovereign just said, you can fuck right off, because men will be like, oh no, I can only get off to this kind of corn. I only like women with big breasts. I like a big butt. Like, no. Women should and can have physical preferences, because in the end, kind of like you said, Sovereign, the guy's going to be shooting himself in the foot, because it's like, okay, you're going to get what you want, and then you're going to be like the dog that catches the fire truck. Like, you're not going to know what to do with it. Because then, like, the woman's like, okay, like, what are we doing now?
I have a hot take about this. I think maybe.
Please.
Hot take. Hot take from the lesbian in the back. I
love it. I love it.
I think that a lot of this is men's inability to receive a no. Men's inability to accept rejection. Because what we say the term friend zone, right? But what we're talking about is I'm not attracted to you and I see you as a friend. That's what we're saying.
Literally.
So we're simply saying we are not attracted to you. And men are saying, wrong. They're saying, no, I'm in a prison that you have put me in, even though I'm the greatest guy in the world. And all you need to do is you need to accept that I'm the one for you because I know you better than you know you. And if you can just see my worth, then we can be happy because here's the thing. They don't care if you're attracted to them. They don't care if you're fulfilled by them. They don't care. They care about they're attracted to you and your desire and your attraction is almost not even in the equation for them.
It's not. It's really not at all.
It's showcased. That's showcased by this whole idea of the friend zone. It's like you are trying to push past a no. You've changed the wording around it, but what you're trying to do is I'm going to force you to be with me despite the fact that you don't want to.
Absolutely.
And like, why? I just don't understand. But it really is. It shows that like most men really do expect women to have, what's that term that got coined on Reddit? Like a tolerable level of unhappiness.
Permanent unhappiness.
Yes.
Unhappiness. Thank you.
100%.
Yeah, they really are like, no, she's going to be fine. Like, she'll just have to deal with it. When it's like, you never see these guys like being in the friend zone with a woman whom they would be out of the league for. Like, does that make sense? Like, they're not over here chasing women that they're not attracted to, being like, no, like, just give me a chance, whatever.
Right.
Like, you're not doing that. So why do you expect women to go on that burden? Like, you would never be with a woman you weren't attracted to. Men will leave their wife of like 20 years for gaining weight. Like,
oh my God. God
and it's
help
a
me
preference.
Right now.
And
it's
the crazy thing too is if
that
you
women
were
to
take them out of the friend zone, they're going to end up proving to you why you put them in the friend zone anyway. You know, in some way, shape, or form, that whatever you put them there for, the relationship is not going to work out because of that somewhere down the road. And then people are going to tell you should have chose better.
Yep.
So like, what do you want?
So
like,
I put him in the friend zone. He forced his way out, and then I dated him, and he was horrible. And they're like, oh, well, that's on you. It's always it's you always.
That's
Women
why,
always.
Yep, it's always. And that's why women should follow their instinct. There's a reason why you just initially didn't. And the thing about the not seeing a dig print package, that happened to me in real life. So that was a true story. Like, I was like, he was cute, all of that. And I was like, there's like literally nothing there. Friend zone. Because he was cool. We could have fun together.
Good for
but
you, queen.
like, there was nothing there. So like, what are we gonna do? Sit around and play banjos? Like, I don't know what are we gonna do?
Not banjos.
Play cards. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know what we're gonna do. Like, we're not gonna have sex.
Play
We're definitely
banjos?
not. So I don't know what you want from me.
Love the hobby.
And I hate to like, I'm not gonna say that. I don't hate to have a preference. I don't want to hate to sound shallow.
Fine.
But at the end of the day, it's like we all have a preference. It's okay when y'all do it. Y'all say, no, I like a woman with big boobs, or I like a woman with a big ass, or I like, okay, you have every right to want that. Leave me alone. Like, why are you bothering me? Go after what you want. We can do the same thing. You know, I think that the issue with guys and why they seem to not understand why women just don't date a man that she's not really into or is not attracted to is because they can be in relationships, they can be married, have babies with women that they fucking hate, not attracted to, don't like. And to them, she's a placeholder. But as long as they're getting some kind of benefit out of the woman or getting their needs met, they can play that role. They can pretend, even though they really hate her. They're going to go around their friends and complain about her the entire time. They can do it because they're shallow and most of them are not capable of love. That's why they don't understand why we can't. Because I feel like they do is project.
That's
so they're like,
true.
I don't
They speak
understand.
in
I mean, it's about
projection.
sucking it up. Marriage is not about happiness. It's about duty. They can be in a marriage with a woman that they literally want to kill. And many of them do go on to kill their wives, by the way. You know what I'm saying? They can literally be
100%.
next to somebody they are repulsed by, but they don't understand why we can't. And I feel like in many ways, in general, women are just more emotionally intelligent than that. To where if we're not really feeling you that way, we can say friend zone. Like, you are a nice guy or whatever, where we have fun, we laugh, whatever, but I don't see you as a romantic partner. I don't see you as a father of my children. I don't see you as a husband. I don't see you as a boyfriend. I don't see you as a sex partner. I don't see you as anything. You're a friend. Because we want to, and I'm not saying every single woman, but generally speaking, we are more emotionally honest in that way. Like, I don't want to lead you on. I don't want to, and I'm not saying women don't use the fact that a man likes her to her advantage. I did that my entire teen and 20s for sure. We can do it.
Two
But
can play that
generally
game,
speaking,
and they should.
Yeah.
and
if we're
that
gonna
was
go
why I
with
was
that.
doing it, because I already knew, like, I knew the game. So I played along
men
with
would
it.
never
I just
date
don't have the
you if
energy
you
to
had
do that
no
shit now. I'm
value.
over it.
Yeah.
You said what?
I said men would never date you if you had no value.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
It's nothing wrong
Even
with
if the
you doing
value
that.
is not enough to take you seriously, you still have something there that they're using you for. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I think most men don't love for real. They just pretend. They know how to they know what to say to women. They know how to play the game. They know to say what you want to hear and all that stuff, to pretend to love you to get what they want. And I just think those are the men that most of them are not evolved. And that's why they're able to play those games, because they're always in survival mode. That's literally what it boils down to.
It's so obnoxious, because a lot of with like emotional intelligence, for example, women are emotionally intelligent because society has forced us to be. We have
Burdened
to
us,
be
to the
emotionally
point.
intelligent. Yes. Whether that is for safety reasons, we need to read situations quickly. We need to understand intent. We need to understand context and the meaning behind words. Like when someone's emotions and their words aren't matching, like that is something we as women have to do.
Yeah.
And so then men expect women to do that for them. So they never develop those skills.
They never develop it.
They don't develop it. And then they don't seek to have it. They want it from men. I'm telling you, they want almost everything from men except sex. It's usually.
Yeah. But
sometimes also that.
I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say.
But it's that they want the approval of men. They want to talk to the boys. They want to share their emotions with the guys. They don't like to talk to the women that they're in relationships a lot of the time. And so it's like they don't need that from they don't care. They don't care to trust their wife. They don't care to emotionally engage with her, know how her day is, to support her emotionally. They're like, you are an object a lot of the time.
Yep.
I use you for what I use you for, and I don't want anything else. But then when the tables are turned, you know, when women are not feeling like they have an emotional attachment, they don't use men in the same way, not at the scale that we see, right?
Not at all.
We see women then being honest. To your point, when you were saying emotional, we're honest with them and say, hey, we're not interested. And they don't like that either. They think women should suffer. And no matter what the circumstances, the person that bears the burden should be women. And that's what we see in these relationships. And it's frustrating, because their lives would be so much more fulfilled if they were able to have deep emotional connections with women, friend,
oh my God, the joke's
partner.
on them big
totally
time.
Agree.
Yeah.
That's why we always talk about how the male loneliness epidemic is self-inflicted. Because like, y'all are literally doing this to yourselves, and you want us to fix it. And it's like, y'all, you don't want to fix it. We can't fix it, because we're saying go to therapy, or we're saying open up to us and talk to us. We want to hear your side of you. We want to support you, but you don't want to do it. So suffer in your male loneliness epidemic. I don't really care at this point. Go have your robot circling around on the Roomba vacuum. Like, what do you want?
Yeah, get your AI girlfriend.
Like, what do you want? Like, I just, it's so frustrating. But I'm just kind of past the point of caring at this point. I just care about women. Like, I just want women to know what's happening out here. That's
well,
it. Like,
that brings me to a question, and you know, either one of you, I would love to hear your take. But like, I don't know, Regan, if you've experienced a lot of like women coming to you and saying that to give the nice guy a chance, and like what I guess your answer is to that, or like what is the reason that they would be suggesting such horrid, putrid things. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like.
So I would say a lot of that is internalized misogyny. And what I think is happening is I think there are a lot of well-meaning women that are saying, give nice guys a chance. Now, I hope what they're saying is give actual nice men who maybe aren't as charismatic, whatever, a chance. Not saying like give secretly misogynistic men who
Right.
are going to be evil.
Right.
I think that it comes from that place. I think people are also, I think women are taught that when things go bad, they picked wrong.
Yes.
So instead of like accountability going on to the man that has injured them, they feel like it's their fault for not picking a nicer guy, right?
That's so true.
And so I think a lot of times that's where it comes from. But what I would urge women to think about is it nice men that you're talking about? And is it actual nice men that talk about those things too? Because it's normally fake nice guys that will say things like, I can't get a date. Nobody likes me. And also to everyone listening, if you don't like a guy, do not say the following, oh, well, he's nice. Because what happens is that is the feedback that men who women are not attracted to get back. They don't want to be honest. And some women are afraid to be honest. But what we as women often say is nice as the blanket term of I was not attracted to him, but I don't want to hurt his feelings. He was nice.
It's a great
But
point.
I don't feel it. And so then men, I think, take that away and then say, I was nice. I was nice and she didn't pick me, whatever. And I think women need to really reflect where they're getting that narrative from. And I think it's one thing to say you should be with someone who treats you with respect and is kind to you, is emotionally available to you, loves you. But to just throw out these statements like, pick a nice guy, I think maybe think about where that comes from and what in your own experience maybe has led you to spew talking points that stem from usually misogynistic men or deeply entitled men.
Yeah.
I've had women try to hook me up with guys that they knew were absolute trash. So, no, I'm so serious. I'm like,
Oh my God.
didn't you say he used to beat his wife? Didn't he beat his baby mama? I'm just using it as an example. Like, and they would, and I'm just like, so I don't know if it's intentional or if it's just they are afraid of dying alone. So
Projection.
You need to find a man or you're going to be alone because I don't want to make it to my 60s or whatever and not have a man. So you need to, your standards are too high. I've heard that your standards are too high from women, probably more than men actually in my life. Because they don't have any standards. They are okay with getting beat up or being cheated on or having, their baby daddy having, 3 women pregnant at the same time and all that. They are used to that. So who am I to demand anything better than that? So they will try to get in your ear. And like, there are those groups of women, I'm not saying all of them, but there are those groups of women that actually misery loves company. They just want to see you. And then I've also had women around me that when you're single, they're threatened by your singleness. They're terrified that their husband or boyfriends may look at you. So they want to partner you up with someone because in their minds, they think that's going to stop their husbands or baby daddies or whoever from being attracted to you. And it won't. It never has. It never will. Like if your baby daddy or husband is a piece of shit, he's going to be a piece of shit. Like, it's not going to change anything. But the women do stuff out of insecurity. And like like Regan was saying, internalized misogyny. And it just is what it is. Like, I ignore those women and I tell women to ignore anybody, man or woman, that's trying to tell you to lower your standards. If that's trying to tell you, oh, but he's a nice guy, but he has a good job. He's a good man, Savannah. No. If there's a reason why you're not attracted to him, there's a reason. It could be biology. It could be subconscious. It's something there. There's something. And you should honor that. Don't go against your intuition.
You all did an episode on pick-me's too, right? I think a lot of this is pick-me behavior in a very strange way, which is that men have taught women you're more desirable if you side with men. And also because the patriarchy sets us up to be highly competitive with women,
Yeah.
all aspects in every way, then I think women get I think exactly to what you're speaking to, a competitive nature
Yeah.
where sometimes they're just competing with you, like get you out of don't you be the object of his affection. Don't you be the temptation.
Yeah.
If you're single and
Right.
I want to keep
Yeah.
him, I better, have you with
Right.
somebody else.
Yeah.
But I think also it's they're putting a man's need to have a partner over women,
Over
right?
a woman.
Yeah. So
Yes.
it's like you should have to settle
Mm.
because
Yeah.
he needs a woman.
Yeah.
And I've seen, he talked to me for an hour about how sad he is. So you should suffer for 20 years.
Oh
That
my God,
reminds me of those
absolutely.
boy
Yeah.
moms that be trying to hook their sons up with women, knowing that your son is a loser. Sometimes they just want their sons out of their house,
I was
out of
gonna
the
say they
basement
just
or
want
whatever.
him-
They know he's a
100%.
loser, and they will
Yeah.
still like, oh, you guys will make such a cute couple. Like women like that. I don't trust women like that. I just
No.
don't.
No, nor should
Please
I
you.
don't.
That's
You-
my least favorite narrative.
Or even if you know he's a woman beater, why would you want to hook me up with a woman beater? Like I don't understand.
No, it's
that.
crazy.
You want to see me with a black eye lady? Is that what this is?
Hmm.
Because there's nothing else to think of. Like there's nothing else it could be. Because like what? Or you just care more about getting your son a woman because he deserves one. Because he's a man. Doesn't matter if he's a good man or a bad man. He's a man. He needs a woman. No, not me. And so ladies, don't fall for that either. Please don't. These women do not. It's women out here who do not care about you at all.
Yeah.
Like they don't believe in women's empowerment. They don't believe in women going their own way. They don't believe women can stick together because they're so competitive with women. So a woman that's competitive with other women are automatically not going to see other women as allies or sisters or whatever because they're in such competition. The only reason why you're in competition is because of the patriarchy. That's the only reason. If the patriarchy didn't exist, I think women would be way more friendly. There would be no competition because what would you be competing for? Right? I mean,
resources.
but we would have the resources because the
I'm saying the men have.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Men
yeah.
have
the
hoarded
patriarchy
the
wouldn't
resources.
exist. Yeah.
Women have always been able to get by with no resources. That's how we do
Absolutely.
it. We're like, it's always like, oh, let me borrow a cup of
We
sugar
figure it
from
out.
so-and-so. Or like, yeah, we have these community support systems like baby showers and all meal trains and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Women have always been able to make shit happen without needing like to operate the same way as men do on this lack mentality and like this hierarchical thinking. It's like to each according to their needs. Like that's a woman's like natural state.
I also do think, to Reagan's point earlier, when we were talking about women being socialized to be emotionally intelligent, I do believe a big part of it is that, but I do think that there is a part of us in our biology that has like natural empathy and all that. We would have to have that in order to birth and nurture and maintain our young. Like that, like if you are if you're a lion in the wild or a cat or whatever, you're giving birth to baby kittens. You are going to love them and protect them and feed them and all that. It's naturally in you to care if that will, right? It's so even as human females, I really believe it's naturally in women because there is no way that we would have survived as a species this long if we didn't have it before the patriarchy came and socialized us to be more empathetic and watch out for our surroundings. Yeah, it's a part of like survival, but at the same
it's like
time,
epigenetics
we have
kind
that.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I really think
like women's intuition, like the women that didn't have it didn't fucking survive because it's that important.
Absolutely.
So that's why we only see women that have like women's intuition or whatever, like can access it, because I feel like that is such a key component of our survival. And it's the same with like raising young. Like if you were not able to keep your young alive, you didn't, like your line didn't go on. So you were just automatically eliminated. But men, like even male animals will like use children as like bargaining chip. Like I don't even want to get into it, but yeah, like they will. I'm serious.
I believe it. No, I just hate thinking about
things
that.
to the young, just to like manipulate.
Look at what human males do.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Right.
So yeah, I can definitely see tigers or whatever in the wild doing the same thing. Like
they like unalive the children on purpose, so then the mother will be like, mating or in like her mating season again or whatever. Like
Oh
that's
my
what
God.
some
I have
male
heard that.
animals do.
Awful.
It's so
Mhm.
awful.
So it's in a lot of their nature.
Yeah,
People get
and
mad at
I
me when
don't,
I say that, but I'm like,
yeah.
it gotta be. And
I don't like to cross that biological line, a lot. I'm not like into bioessentialism, but
Yeah.
I do agree that there are things that like we seem to have evolved with like epigenetically. Like if we're going to talk
Yeah.
about, there's the same kind of differences between like white and black people to where you just have certain intuitions, sensibilities that are not innate to,
You just made me think about why I've been seeing a lot of comment of black creators on TikTok, especially, that are like, the world is falling apart. Meanwhile, this is me. And they'll be in the living room, like dancing to,
yeah.
singing to their cat or whatever. And the reason why is because black people have been through so much, like psychologically, even if we didn't technically go through slavery, because I'm only 40, but we still, that psychological crap, that trauma has been passed down generation to generation. And we're so used to like the fuckery that literally this economy crashing and Trump doing this and people doing that and all this stuff, people losing their job, it literally is not affecting most of us. Like I literally wake up every day and I don't even care. Like the only thing I care about is as long as I can continue to put a roof over my head and buy food, I literally don't, you know what I mean? That's a stark difference because we literally, we're unbothered as fuck at this point. Because, once you've conditioned people, and I think women in general, because I like to put women in that same category as a whole, even white women, everybody, we've been oppressed so much that naturally when we have the opportunity to be educated, to start businesses, to raise children and get back to work and all that stuff, we're going to excel at it because it's the opposite effect. If you push somebody so far in one direction, when they come out, they're gonna blossom in the opposite direction because that's just the way nature is or whatever. I don't know, but I feel that way about women. No matter what race you are, it doesn't matter if you went through slavery or not. We have it in us to survive. And I'm not saying every single woman. There's women out there that literally they wouldn't survive. But I'm saying as a species.
Instinct,
No, you get what I'm saying? Like we're gonna find a way, no matter where we come from. I don't want to say women are superior to men, but I'm saying like in that way, I think women like you remember when Priscilla was saying men need women, but women need other women? Yeah. Like we don't.
That's really
the guys are having such a hard time with that because that literally is what it is. That's
the male loneliness epidemic.
And it's like no, we don't. No, we don't.
The male loneliness
we're better
epidemic.
off without y'all. Actually, in most cases, if you're not an evolved man, if you are not operating in a higher frequency, if you are not empathetic, we literally don't need you. I prefer y'all to just go away. Like in my mind, the perfect world would be at least 60% of the men just poof disappear into the void. No, I'm serious.
Like Thanos, like snap your fingers.
Like Thanos.
Where'd they go?
Because then I think, and I really would only want to get rid of the guys that have no empathy, which that would be probably.
That's
80% of them.
That's also just like it just makes sense because all of like that the value system that this as a society we've grown up through is all about perceived value through the lens of the patriarchy. And that's not actually true. Like so in most societies, like if you had a big group of regardless of gender people that are like, I have no empathy and I will take all of you out. I expect you to do what I want. You're an object to me. You would kick those people out because you'd say, I can't trust you. But what they've done is they've made it so that we all believe they're at the top. They have the perceived value. And so it's like, well, we're above you. That's why you need us. But what's happening now, I think, is, you look across like whether it's like race or gender or sexuality, you have all these people who were held down and oppressed and their rights were taken from them. They are denied the rights that they should have, right? And now we see that when given the opportunity just to start to even the playing field, we see them thrive.
Yep.
Because they were always going to thrive. It was simply they didn't have the access to.
That's exactly it.
And
That's
so
exactly it.
now they're panicking, right? Because they're like, no, I mean, you have to keep us, because it's like it's like in zombie movies when like there's a rich man that gets in the zombie bunker and all of a sudden everybody goes, gosh, money doesn't have value anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and you have no skills.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
You are one of
God.
us. You are
Yeah.
not. Your so-called money and power means nothing in this cage right now. In this where we are. I remember you just made me think of a movie, the Anaconda movie, but the Blood Orchid, the second one. The guy was out there and he was like the producer of something, and he thought his authority in the jungle, they were like fighting for their lives to get away from man-eating snakes. And they say out here in the jungle, your authority is what we say it is. Like in real life. You just made me think of that part in the movie because it was just one of those moments like, right, when you are in a situation like that, we tell you what your value is. And sir, you are not above women if women are constantly choosing to turn away from you. If we're turning you down, if your women are getting off dating apps, if women are not, I'm just saying like because if you were all that, women wouldn't be crashing out to get away from you. They wouldn't be.
Yeah, you would have to.
They wouldn't be deleting their dating apps, and they wouldn't be doing. They wouldn't.
Yeah.
They
you
just
would have
wouldn't.
to set up an entire system of power in order to have women. Like if you were all that, if you were as great as you say you are, you wouldn't have to abuse people. You wouldn't need the patriarchy. We would just be in it. We would just be in a system. But no, at every turn, it's the same. Okay, I'll
even
say
the
this
laws
quickly.
too. Don't forget the laws.
Well, laws. But like you look at even this one gets me is the idea of chivalry, right? So you have chivalry, and then you have men now who are like, well, guess what? Either they'll say things like equal rights, equal fights, or they'll be like well, I'm not paying for your date then. I guess I guess I won't pay. And it's like, hey, remember that you did that because you limited women's access to money. Women could not access money, let alone women of color.
Right.
Like you literally set up a system to deny us the ability to have money, to have land, to have safety, where you were the sole person we had to go through to get anything in this life.
Yeah.
So
they leave that out.
They skipped that part. That's not chivalry. That's called abuse of power. Like you abused us, and now they'll be like, well, guess what? Now you don't even. Now I won't do it. It's like it was never nice. Stop acting like now you're teaching us a lesson. What were you doing before?
Oh no, the other one is well, we won't protect you then. You remember seeing that, Lisa?
From who?
Exactly.
Who?
Yeah, and that's always the question. Who are we being protected from, sir? Oh, and Lisa was talking about a little while ago how guys are always talking about, but men built the world. Y'all wouldn't be nothing without us building the world. And Lisa was like, we would have been able to build a world too had we not been kept out of industries. Like,
had we not been literally in cells.
We would have literally been like building rockets and bridges and everything else that we use every day. But y'all kept us out. There's always women that want to do those manly jobs.
Absolutely.
So like, stop. Y'all, and they made it a manly, they decided that those were manly jobs. Women are more than capable of doing anything that men do. Anything.
The jobs that they talk about are almost always the industries in which women are sexually harassed the most.
Yes.
Which is why they're not in those jobs.
I was going to say.
And also it's like, you also took us out of the history books. There are so many things that women created that men stole.
Yes.
Like there are so many things that were actually, and the history books are written by, history is defined by the hand that writes it, which was a white male hand.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Literally.
And so they rewrote a lot of things. And it's like, if you don't give us access to any of the industry, you make it them harsh environments in which you cannot thrive and possibly could be harassed or, assaulted in some way. You could be killed there.
Absolutely.
And then when we do finally get access, you deny us any credit for the achievements that we have. Yeah, I guess it would look like we haven't done anything. It's like, but you can't abuse us and then claim we didn't do anything. You can't tie our hands behind our back and say, why aren't you picking that up?
Yeah, why didn't you build the world? And also, like, who birthed all of the society?
I was just about to say that. That was my next,
what society would you have?
You wouldn't even be here.
You wouldn't
if
be.
you had not.
We invited you here. Okay,
yeah,
we
seriously,
brought
like,
you.
all of the buildings would be for nothing. All of your laws would be for nothing. Like, if women one day were just like, no, really, like, no. Like, absolutely not. And like your whole society would be for nothing.
Yeah.
Society's not made of buildings, it's made of people.
Absolutely.
Facts.
And
You
that's
need
why
the
that's why
people.
they're crashing out so much now,
Mhm.
because they're like, well, y'all don't want to have babies. I mean, the human race is going to go extinct. I don't give a shit.
And
Okay.
I think it should.
Yeah.
And so many
Let's
more,
do it.
so many of us are on board with
Don't
the
threaten
idea
me
of
with a good
humanity
time.
going extinct.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they don't get. We are the ones who choose. I'm choosing not to have kids. I'm choosing not to birth any of y'all. So, like, at the end of the day, if more women get on board, which a lot of them have, the birth rates are declining globally, like I always say. So
Yep.
enough women are starting to say, you know, I'm not. And in the Black community, which this is true in all communities, by the way, when you birth sons, unfortunately, you're birthing a possible future oppressor.
Mhm.
That's you're gonna birth this person, and then they may kill you, or they may get into lawmaking and strip away your rights, right?
Or just do nothing.
Think
while
about
your
Donald
rights are
Trump's.
stripped.
Think about Donald Trump's mom. Like, did she know that her son was gonna want to grow? Or JD Vance. I fucking hate JD Vance. Did JD Vance's mother think he was going to grow up and be okay with taking away women's rights and telling you can't decide if you have kids or not? No, I don't think so. Like, but we can decide not to. I'm not having kids, period.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, men need to get on board with the idea that if you're only here because your mother decided not to abort you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if abortion wasn't available in the boomer generation or whatever, but women were still finding ways
Mhm.
to abort their fetuses,
Mhm.
either by accident, on purpose, whatever. That concept has been around forever. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
Yes.
they were
I mean,
aborting babies
animals
on a
do
slave
this too.
plantation. That's what I'm saying. So,
It's
yeah,
natural.
you know, I don't want to get into the abortion topic in this, but I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, the men don't understand. You wouldn't be here. You would not be here if it wasn't for your mother deciding to keep you. Like, it's just that simple.
They don't want us to understand. That's what I think it is. I think men are like way more aware of things. I think it's like they are recognizing they're losing their power quickly.
Very quick.
Quickly.
Very quick.
Because it's just like, no, people don't have to sleep. You're not entitled to it. And the other thing that I think, it's not to be so boxy, but you know, capitalism and the patriarchy are bedmates always.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
we have set up, you know, several countries, not just ours, have set up systems in which you got to birth babies in order for the system to even work. Without people getting absolutely just destroyed in the machine.
Yep.
And right now, we're starting to see the pressure is starting to go on the people on top. And then the men who are in the middle are starting to feel like they're even lower. And now they're trying to pressure women. We'll just have babies because then I'll feel better. And then the pressure will be off me. And they're not realizing that women are done. We're not doing that.
We are so done.
So
it makes me always stop to think about, did they know? I'm going to always have this question. Did they know social media was going to wake up women in a much faster rate? Or did they not have any foresight? Like, did they know this and that was the plan all along? And I'm not saying all men, but I'm saying some of the men who, you know how you think about the guys from back in the day who don't mind speaking the truth about male nature and how women are the power source and women are really the prize, blah, blah, blah. You have those men who are like, listen, at the end of the day, we wouldn't be here without women, blah, 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 blah. I wonder, whoever decided to push this forward, did they have foresight? Or is it backfiring on them? I'm going to always have this question because it's like, you know what I mean? Like, how will we ever know? But I'm so glad because places like TikTok, perfect example of how women are connecting with each other from all over the world and finding out in real time. Most of us have the exact same story or something similar, dealing with men, the crap we've gone through, the system, the patriarchy, blah, blah, blah. And so this is happening much faster than I would have anticipated. Like, even just in this generation, like social media hitting 10, 15 years later, we're already in a place with the birth rates have always been slowly declining, but I think it really took off. You know,
Yes.
I don't know if it was around a pandemic or before that or whatever, and we've reached a point of no return. I don't think it's ever going to go back to going on a steady incline. I really don't. I don't see that happening anywhere in the world.
I think the algorithms in general have been such an aid to women because it's allowed women to find the content that they need and to find the pockets of women that they didn't have access to, because men have always profited off of and have
true.
the fact that women couldn't access each other. Like, I think it's like isolating women on a grand scale, right? So you have women in isolated areas, you have women in communities that they aren't seeing any other viewpoint other than sometimes it could be like their religious viewpoint. It could just be, where the area that they're in, the politics of the area that they're in. And so now women are finding each other like in these pockets all over the world. You can literally find people across the globe and see how women are treated across the globe. And I think it has been so helpful to women. Whereas, in my mind, where women can expand rapidly and their understanding can deepen and they can grow, like you get men in red pill circles, like all they can do is be like, yeah, women suck, and say that to themselves, and it can echo in the red pill room. You know what I mean? Because they're not growing, they're not adapting.
Absolutely.
They're just saying, I'm not good enough, but women suck, and that's why. And that's pretty much the answers that they're finding. They're not doing like development. You're not seeing them grow. And so they're just kind of making choices that, if anything, are making them less, evolved, right?
Absolutely.
Whereas women have access to do so much more. And I think that's a huge part of it, because like they can be siloed in their red pill little world. Like I couldn't care less. Good luck. Good luck, sir.
Yeah. I know. They're always saying like men go their own way, and like I just fucking wish they would. I wish they would.
I know. Well, men, okay, I'll tell you what. Men who hate women will never fucking leave women alone. Exactly. Women who hate men will get the F away from them. Yes, literally. They will literally never talk to them again.
And that is the difference between so-called misandry and misogyny.
Yes.
Your misogyny wants to harm me. My misandry, if you want to call it that, wants to get away from me.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm running.
Literally, that's the difference. We don't want to harm you. We just want you to leave us the fuck alone. That's it. That's literally it. Oh my God.
I was just going to say, I wonder if that's because like it's easier for women to do this because men don't have as much value to extract. Like of course it makes sense that men are like, no, wait, where are you going? Where are you going? Because they've built their whole entire lives around extracting value from women. To the point where even like down low men who are not even attracted to women, like we talked about earlier, it's still the best deal for them to like suck it up and like get married anyway and like
and have kids,
be with someone that they're not attracted to.
Yes.
Because like women are raised to provide value. You're 3 years old and somebody gives you a baby doll to take care of and pushes you into a play kitchen. Like, of course, by the time you reach 18, 20 years old, you know how to run a whole damn household. You know how to be nice. You know how to be kind. You know how to be empathetic. Whereas boys are like, okay, go outside and smack the ball around. And that's who you in your house as a woman. Like just a person who's like, oh, the answer to everything is just smack it harder. Like, okay, that's not safe. Like, what value does that provide for me if I can provide my own money? Like, what do you mean? Like a lot of these, it's just like a lot of this lonely man, like nice guy, epidemic kind of like discourse comes down to, well, why is it that men are willing to settle and women aren't? And it's like, what are we settling for? A man who could possibly like get sick of us one day and just like bury us out in the backyard.
Absolutely.
That's a woman settling. A man settling is like, well, maybe the woman is not a complete, corn star in bed or like something that you're not like, super attracted to, which probably isn't even realistic anyway. Right. Maybe she's not that, but she's still going to be a great mother, a great friend, a great partner. She's going to keep the home, like cook, everything like that. Of course you'd settle. I'd be jumping up and down to settle.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Fuck off.
And they don't even want to acknowledge that part of it. They don't even just like when Regan was saying earlier, like with the guys, they're not gonna get what some of them still get sex from men too. But even if they decided to just get sex from men and not women, they know that all the other perks that women would give them, they're never gonna get from a man. You're not gonna unless you're in a reciprocal, both gay equally
Yes.
gay, out there
Yes.
gay. They're not on the download type of relationship, and y'all both like to cook, and y'all both like to clean up, and you're like, you're like, you know,
You have
that's the
human
only way
skills.
you're
Yeah,
gonna
you have
get
normal skills.
You have normal human
Survival
skills. That is the only way that'll work. 9 times out of 10, though, you're not going to get any of that from men. You can only get it from women. That's why it's easy for them to marry these women, have kids with them, and be on the down low. Because
the value is still insane.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The woman is still going to cook for you. She's still going to clean up. She's still going to give you sex, even though you're not sexually attracted to her. Whatever. You know what I mean? It's just, and they don't even want to acknowledge that part. They don't even want to be honest about that. Like, it's such wasted potential. Because I know a lot of guys that have so much potential to be better, and they just will not they don't want to deprogram this patriarchal mindset. And they're just choosing not to. They're choosing not to because they value the opinions of other loser men over anything else. No, seriously, because that's what it boils down to.
I'm just laughing because it's true.
That's literally what it boils down to. It's like, these men are losers too, and you care about, they're living in their mom's basement, or they're driving their girlfriend's car, or whatever, and you are worried about what they think. Versus this woman over here trying to elevate you, trying to show you have potential. You could be doing this. You're really good at this. You're good at that. You can be nurturing that. You care about what men think. It's the most ridiculous thing. That's why I tell women, don't build men up, because you're just gonna play yourself in the end. You're gonna do all of that for them, and they're still gonna value that loser over there more than they're gonna value his opinion or whatever he thinks over you.
And it's the easiest
why
too.
bother? Like,
it's the easiest for them.
I don't fucking get it.
Because like if you want to grow with a woman, you have to accept what you have done wrong, and that you have benefited from a system, which accepting that the system is set up for you to succeed and you're still failing is a hard thing to accept. It is. It's a fact. It is hard to accept that, and some men don't want to. And if you have to accept that to move forward, which is more appealing to you? To accept that from a woman. And the woman is also usually the one that is saying, you are not up to the task. You do have things you need to do better. Right. Whereas a man in his basement can just tweet at you and be like, nah, that woman sucks.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
bro. She's a whore. Yeah. We don't care what she thinks.
Yeah, that's exactly. But it's like, that's the gift that the patriarchy gives men. No matter how bad you are, you will always be better than women.
Yeah.
And they aren't willing to give that up.
Yep.
For growth. So,
I think that is, like, unfortunately, the best place to wrap it up, because you really just said it all. I mean,
she
honestly,
really did. Like, oh my God.
You can just put a period after that, and like,
call
just
your therapist.
heed the advice, ladies.
Go call that lady.
Serious.
That's what we call it.
Yeah.
Go talk to that lady.
Yes. And before we go, Regan, do you want to tell our listeners where they can find you? Obviously, we'll have that stuff in the show notes too.
Yeah.
But
yes. So I am the host of the F the Nice Guy podcast, which is a lot of stories talking about the nice guys of the past, but we also dive into different topics. We just broke down. There was the Impractical Joker, those guys that had a ton of accusations. We just got into that, and we talked about
the show.
So
the guys who did the show.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
There's essentially a grooming ring.
Show. You said what?
A grooming ring.
Really?
Yep, correct.
I shouldn't be shocked.
So give a man a little bit of power, and he might do something terrible.
How disappointing.
I know it's so bad.
So
it's fine. It's not fine, but I don't know what to say. But yeah, so that was one of the ones we did. We talked about all different feminist topics, and really just helping women unpack their trauma and internalized misogyny, and how to look at the world in a way that we can be empowered and emboldened, rather than, being squashed by these terrible men around us. So that's where to find me.
I love it so much. Yeah, thank you for doing the good work out here. Please catch me on Regan's podcast next week, because we'll be recording something. Yeah, we're recording something tomorrow. We're going to dig into White Lotus, right?
Dun, dun,
Which I'm so excited
I still haven't
for.
watched that, y'all.
Oh my God. You have to. It's so interesting. This season, if you're feminist at all, this season is fascinating. There's so many different types of
Is it brand
things
new? Is it new?
Yeah.
Season 3.
Season 3 just had the finale yesterday. Yeah, it's like a murder mystery type of thing, but it's mostly about social commentary. But yeah, so I'll be on there talking about that.
Yay!
That's right up your alley.
So.
I know you.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll catch you all there. Thanks for stopping by, Regan. Obviously, we
Yes,
could
I'm
talk
so
for
glad.
hours, but
Yeah.
My pleasure. I know
Yeah.
we'll be here for
I know.
days.
We
Yeah,
could.
exactly.
Got to come back
Yeah.
again, hopefully.
Yes, for sure.
Anytime,
For sure.
anytime.
And we're back. And welcome back to our Her Story segment. And today's discussion is going to be about the Hidden Figures. And this was a film that got quite a lot of popularity a few years ago because Hidden Figures was the right name for it, because a lot of people had no idea that the reason we had a successful space mission was 3 Black women.
Mm-hmm.
And before there were like electronic computers, this is what they actually called the people that were doing the computations for NASA's like missions and stuff. They were called human computers because they had to do a bunch of math and they to track satellites and stuff like that. And basically, as we were getting into the Second World War and like the space race with Russia and everything was kind of happening, they were pushing to advance aeronautical technology. And this basically created a huge need for mathematicians because, once again, computers were like manually operated during these times, and they needed a bunch of people to do that. And a lot of these people happen to be women. And that's, to begin with, something that we don't really talk about a lot. But even less talked about are the Black women that were extremely instrumental and had so many efforts that have just been swept under the rug. But in reality, they helped to blaze a trail for mathematicians and engineers of all races and genders to follow. Okay, and so let's not keep them hidden any longer. Their names were Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mary Jackson. And their story was having to work in this extremely demanding and like unforgiving field. Of course, in the midst of a very sexist atmosphere. But on top of that, there was also literal segregation happening. So like they were asked to use different bathrooms. And even once they got accepted into these programs and like given jobs, it was still very much like, you're part of it, but not really part of it. And the most offensive thing was that it was their calculations that actually got us into space. And nobody knew about this until like 2016. And not to mention, the movie itself actually only scratched the surface of their actual achievements and had some propaganda in it. Had some light propaganda in it about, I forget who played the actor or who played the character that like tore down the segregation sign from the bathroom or whatever, but that never happened. The bathrooms were never unsegregated in real life at the real NASA.
Okay.
And basically the woman in question who was like asked to use that bathroom or whatever, she said that she just used the white bathroom. Like,
really?
Which I think is badass. Like, I don't know why they left that out of the movie. She was like, no, I'm not going to deal with this shit. Running back and forth between different buildings. Meanwhile, you're supposed to be like on top of all of these calculations. Like, that's crazy.
I never knew that didn't happen.
Yeah.
As far as, I never knew that. That's
I know.
crazy.
They love to give white men credit wherever they can. And like, it literally never, ever happened. Like, I think that's so atrocious to put that into the movie.
Just to make it dramatic.
Even once they like gave these contributions to NASA and to our space program, they were still not safe from segregation.
Right. Ain't that crazy?
Like, you would
think that would in some way like prove that, I don't know.
And it's like, what more could they have had to prove? Like, I'm just about to give you a little rundown from their early life, but these women were really and truly exceptional. So Katherine Johnson actually graduated from high school at age 14. And I'm like, that's when I started high school, right? Like,
right.
What the fuck?
Literally.
She completed 8th grade by age 10, graduated from West Virginia State High School by 14, and at 18, she earned her bachelor's degree in mathematics and French, summa cum laude. Yeah, and Dorothy Vaughan was among the first group of African Americans to be hired as mathematicians and scientists, even though Jim Crow laws still forced colored employees to work separate from their white counterparts. And Mary Jackson was a Girl Scout leader for over 20 years. So all of these women were exceptional by all means. Like, if you can look at a little girl who completed 8th grade by the age of 10
I know.
and like graduating high school at age 14, it's really crazy to see how like when racism is alive and well, there is really nothing you can do to get out of that system.
Absolutely.
Because it really all still comes back to your skin color, and it doesn't matter what you can prove or whatever, you'll always be sort of seen as the exception, or like, you know, just like, oh, that was a fluke. Like that doesn't mean we can put our differences aside for real. Like,
which is crazy.
It's crazy because how are people ever supposed to, like, I don't know, like what are people supposed to do in order to get away from the bigotry, the racism, like the consequences of these things? And I don't know, I think the point is just it would interfere with the extraction of value from those people. Like if you were to actually give them their proper place, you couldn't no longer exploit them.
Right. It had to be tough mentally, you know, just like on a psychological level to accomplish that much during those times. And like how it just makes you wonder, like, how did they mentally get through that? Like, where did they garner their strength to, you know? It's so admirable.
And not only that, but like the craziest part to me about this is that these women not only did that, but they opened doors for other women.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dorothy, she became the first Black NACA supervisor and made sure that her employees received promotions or pay raises if merited. Her segregation was ended in 1958 when NACA became NASA, at which point NASA created an analysis and computation division. Like, it's crazy that they still fought for other people and for the like justice of other people while they themselves were being segregated and oppressed. Like, they literally followed that up with her segregation ended. Like, so before her segregation ended, she was out there going to bat for other people. And that's not the only example. So Mary Jackson, she also tried to help other women advance in their career. And she discovered that occasionally it was something as simple as a lack of a couple of courses, or perhaps the location of the individual, or perhaps the assignments given them. And of course, the ever-present glass ceiling that most women seem to encounter. And like, this is what a lot of white women don't tend to understand. And like, they tend to sort of like limit themselves a lot as like, oh, well, I can't help others. Like, you have to put on your own oxygen mask first, etc., which is fine. Like, it's a fine mindset. But at the same time, it's like you look at these Black women and they're like, not only am I oppressed and literally facing segregation, and literally my accomplishments will probably never be credited to me, and these women are out here like, hey, did you know if you could just take one more course, or, you know, like, let me make sure that you get a promotion or a raise and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, it just kind of puts like white women activism to shame. Like, white women's idea a lot of time of like combating unfairness is like wearing bracelets or wearing certain colors or like doing something that brings the attention on themselves, you know, whereas Black women will get in there and just start lifting other people out of the mud and out of the dirt and never getting any recognition or credit for it. So it's like, is it any surprise that they're feeling like, no, you know what, fuck y'all, like lately?
Right.
Absolutely not, because this is like, this happened almost 100 years ago, and we're still like trying to bring it to light because a lot of people don't know that these missions were literally put together by women, and again, in particular, Black women. But men get all the credit for the going to space. Like, you literally couldn't have done it. You literally couldn't have done it without these women. And the problem is that men are not willing to do a lot of the quote unquote shit work, the actual hard work of doing the computations and doing sort of the thankless grunt work,
So true.
which is the work that gets these rockets off the actual ground. Like, you know, they want to sit in the cockpit though. You know, they want to wear the like space suit. They want to be the guy that's like, one, you know, small step for man or whatever. Like,
Musk.
yeah, exactly.
They want to.
Yeah, they just want to be the Jeff Bezos that goes up in outer space in a cowboy hat and then talks about how much he loves space exploration. And
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
you haven't even explored the equations
Nothing.
that you would need to actually get into space.
That's so annoying because oh my God. When you really think about it, you have explored nothing.
Absolutely.
You stood on the shoulders of other people to accomplish something a lot faster. I'm trying to quote Jurassic Park right now, but it's I can't remember when Dr. Malcolm was like, "You stood on the shoulders of geniuses."
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did.
That's what it is. And my thing is like, how are you? This is why like it hurts people not to know history, because how the fuck are you going to get rid of DEI knowing these facts, right? Knowing these facts, knowing that literally without these women, the space mission wouldn't have happened. Like so often just knowing that it takes somebody who has been forced to work harder to become stronger, to become better. They're the ones that make the real actual discoveries. They're the ones that spot like the little mistakes and stuff like that. And so I really think it's our not knowing our own history that keeps us in these loops of like the same mistakes over and over and over. Because how are you going to get rid of DEI when this country is literally built on the shoulders of Black women? Yeah. But people don't know that. So they're like, oh, but what if they're just getting the job because they're Black? Like, okay, you realize the other way around, you'll just be getting the job because you're white.
Absolutely.
Right? Like you realize that's the other option. So what are we gonna do?
And DEI only goes so far, right?
Exactly.
So like you can say, oh, I'm hiring this person because we have to meet a Black quota, but is that Black person qualified for the job? Otherwise they wouldn't be there. Like if I say I want to hire a certain amount of Black doctors, this Black person still had to do 12 years of undergrad, 12 years of med school, 12 years of residency, just like everybody else. Why are we hiding the fact that they're literally qualified to be here, regardless to whether or not they're DEI or not? They're still qualified to be here.
They're so much less likely to fuck up, honestly, because it's like everybody's waiting for you to fuck up.
Absolutely.
And so you can't even afford to like be bad at or mediocre at your job to be excellent, because otherwise, oh, it's a DEI hire and like let's just, you know, this is why we can't have that, and like you will get fired. Like people are waiting for you to mess up. Okay. We had some polls this week that I'm very excited to announce the results of. The question was, what's the best way to handle a pick-me friend? And the options were either set firm boundaries, keep your distance, call out harmful behavior, and support but don't engage. And the clear winner by far, and I salute you ladies for knowing the right answer. This one did have kind of a right answer. The winner was keep your distance.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the right answer. Yeah. It's a canon event, ladies. You got to keep your distance. And it's either going to be a canon event that lasts for years and years and years, or it's a canon event that will, you know, maybe you can reconnect after. But while your girlfriend or friend or whatever is in pick-me mode,
it's nothing you can do.
It's nothing.
They have to come to their own realizations about whatever's happening. So
male-centered anything is dangerous to women.
Yes.
As are male-centered women.
And children. Dangerous to women and children.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when it's, you know, their own children, it's one thing. That's, again, not something that you can really interfere unless it's like to the point where you got to call the authorities or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you have children, definitely stay away from pick-me women, because the kind of men that they're going to have around is not going to be safe for your children. And I would never send your children over to like sleepovers or anything like that.
Oh, definitely not.
If your friend is somebody who's male-centered, or if your child is friends with a child whose mother is male-centered, like definitely always do your vetting before you let your children go over anywhere, because some women will just have any type of man around, because the biggest point is having a man around. So. Yeah, so thank y'all for voting in the polls. We are going to have a VIP poll this week about our next Her Story segment and whom that should be about. We'll give y'all a few options and you can choose. Oh, and our recommendation this week is F the Nice Guy podcast. I mean,
Yes,
we love her.
definitely.
And please go listen. Check it out. Follow Regan on all platforms because she's awesome. And I hope y'all enjoyed our conversation as much as we did.
Dang. Isn't she like so pretty? I think she is so
Oh,
pretty.
she's so pretty. Face card. Absolutely.
It's always funny when people say face card never declines or whatever. When people started saying that, I just thought it was super funny. But
Oh, it's so great. People are so
like
creative. All right. Well, we will see y'all next week. And hopefully Gwenny will be back with us.
Yes.
Feel better, Gwen. We love you.
We love you. We miss you, Gwen.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.